nothing sacred on the broadcast. Coat in the comments, chanting every line. You're tuned to the truth that you'll never find online. Come on. It's the cult of Ron and Brian. If you're in, you ain't ever going quiet. Twist that dial, let the whole world hear it. Two sharp minds in the bad influence spirit. Hey, cult of Ron and Brian. Welcome to the ride, you're inside it now.
That's right, everybody. It is Sunday night. It is 8 o'clock, and you are inside the Cult of Ron and Brian episode 405 in the middle of a hot one here in the Northeast. Brian, how are you holding up, my friend, up there in the ivory tower?
Not well. The AC is going. I'm going to be honest with you. This frail, fragile body does not handle, rapid temperature changes. I don't do well when it goes from the mid 60s up to 90. My body doesn't know what's happening. It's almost just like I've gone back to 1932 in Austria, and I'm being thrown. What? Are you okay? I saw you. Do you have gastrointestinal pains?
I felt a quick pain. I felt a quick pain just then.
What kind of?
Maybe you were going down a path that maybe. Well, great question from Billy. How's the sweat situation today?
Not good. This morning, I was invited to a lovely bar mitzvah. John and Christine's youngest son Eli, friends of the show, invited me down. So had to wore the suit because I'm going to look sharp for this thing.
Right.
And I basically got dressed. I showered, got out of the shower, and literally as I'm shaving, I just feel it started about here. And the sweat just started dripping. Then it formed over here because the chest hair started capturing it. And then it was just like, let's put it this way. Is it ever good when your lady sits there and says, why don't you go sit in front of the fan for a little bit?
Why don't you go bring an extra shirt right there?
Yeah, it was bad. The sweat level's high. Ron, more importantly, enough about me. Let's talk about the issue everybody wants to know, which is, how are you doing?
You know what? I am doing fantastic, Brian. It was a lovely, warm weekend here in Philadelphia adjacent. We have the backyard all set up again, able to hang out because you know what's coming up next weekend, Brian. It is the start of Hot Podcaster Summer.
Hot Podcaster Summer.
So I know some of you out there did receive our exclusive invitations to the Cult of Ron and Brian Memorial Day blowout. So we look forward to seeing those of you that are able to attend on Saturday. But in the meantime, let's get things rolling with episode 405 and our drink of the week.
Drink of the week.
Na zdrowie.
Salud.
Drink of the week.
Cruncher.
Pause.
Drink of the week. Drink of the week. Drink of the week.
Brian,
drink of the week.
What are you drinking this Sunday night?
Listen, it is summer in a week. It is warm weather now, which means I am looking for one thing for my drink of the week moving forward, and that's going to be crushable beers. That is all I want. I went to my local beer expert. I said to him, give me your crushable beer. He sat there and said, everybody talks about Allagash White. That's not crushable.
Right.
Delish, highly delish, but not crushable. You have two or three of those, and your belly starts filling up. You're like, oh, I can't take any more. He said Allagash Lager is going to be your crushable. Did not know, but you know who does know? The kind folks over at Beer Advocate who have afforded Allagash Lager a score of 90.
All right, that's impressive.
You don't see many 9-0s. This is Allagash Lager. It's brewed for both depth and drinkability. This lager makes use of New England grown malt for its signature balance and refreshment. It's also known for its signature effervescence and clean drinkability. 5.0 ABV. As I said earlier, Beer Advocate gives it an outstanding score of 9.0. This, my friends, is Allagash Lager.
Let's have a taste. I am curious to hear how that is. I'm a little jealous. I don't have it myself.
Yeah. It's not sweet like a Yingling.
Right.
I drink those all day long. But this is delicious. This is utterly delicious.
He's going back for a second sip. That means a lot.
It's got a malty taste to it. It's got a malty taste. There's a sharp little bite in there. Not a sweet, easygoing. There's no citrus, no coriander, no peppercorns, no mango or guava like I know you're about to bring to the table. Maybe a watermelon. I don't know what you got lined up, but I'm interested.
You're in the ballpark.
Okay, so I give this easily a score of 4.25 out of 5. Ron,
All right. Yes.
what are you drinking?
So again, I stayed local with the good folks down at Levante Brewing Company out of Westchester, Pennsylvania. Brian, they were clearing out their spring specialty beers because they know what's coming next weekend. They know about Hot Podcaster Summer.
Podcaster Summer.
So what they did for their springtime beers, Brian, they took their legendary Cloudy and Cumbersome New England style IPA and they did some flavoring for the spring. The one I'm bringing tonight is their tangerine flavor. This is double dry hop, Brian, with Mosaic and Idaho 7 hops. It is a 5.9% ABV. Keep cold, drink fresh, they say. I mean, it's got a delectable looking body to it.
Oh my gosh.
You right off the bat get the citrus scent from the tangerine. First sip, let's see how it goes.
It actually looks like you're drinking a beer mosa already.
Oh, that's solid. It is.
Walk me through.
So I will say Cloudy and Cumbersome, one of my favorite IPAs. It literally, to your point, almost tastes like a beer mosa. Like they took that classic IPA and just mixed it with tangerine juice.
Interesting. He goes back for a second sip. The pinky is elevated, almost the ring finger as well. So we know the man is drinking delicately because he's enjoying it. Our champ is satiated. This is going to be a great show, folks.
Going to be a great show, and we're going to keep it going on. You know what time it is. It's time for Beef of the Week.
Ron and Brian's Beef of the Week.
Brian, what's bothering you this week?
You know what's bothering me, Ron? Novelty sporting events that sucker me into it because they're names that I remember from years past, and I decide, you know what, I'm going to stay up to watch it. I don't know any of the fighters that are active now, but I'm going to stay up and watch this thing. As an old man, midnight is not a time that I should be awake. I should be tucked away safely in bed, underneath a cover, pillow, maybe two, under my head. That's where I belong at midnight. I don't need to be out in the streets these days at that late hour. However, last night, those good folks over at Netflix and MVP suckered me into staying up late. I do have to cop to taking a slight nap in the 10 a.m. to 10:45 range there. But I stayed up last night because Ronda Rousey, famed female MMA, she put women's, in my opinion, she put women's MMA on the map. Okay, well, good point. Billy makes a good point. What's 17 seconds of my life? You know, I could do a lot of things in 17 seconds. You know, she knows what I'm talking about. But I could actually start, finish, and apologize all in 17 seconds. But so I stayed up last night to watch Ronda Rousey versus Gina Carano, I believe is the way is her name. And she, I think, fought 8 times. So that's not even really a career at that point. That's more of a hobby. But did that cause me to stay up? Yes. So the fight that was on when I turned it on was Nate Diaz, who I believe peaked in MMA about 10 years ago, and apparently bled like a pig throughout this fight. Literally, my lady was horrified at the amount he was bleeding and didn't understand why they were not stopping the fight at the first sign of blood. And I was like, This is why Americans love this sport. We're watching
why
it
people
for the
love it.
blood.
Yes.
But he got his ass kicked by I believe, current bare knuckles fighter, which I don't understand how that's legal. Because you got to have some kind of padding. You literally, I mean, this guy beat the crap out of him. I'm like, okay, then, and I guess it makes sense if you are in the arena. I think this was in LA where they were filming this. But like, you want to have some time to go to the bathroom, get some concessions and whatnot. But
Right.
the time between fights when you're watching them at home, painful. There's so much time to kill, and I'm just sitting there watching. So the build, I don't need to know backstories, whatnot. Anyway, so finally they bring the two women out. This is what I've waited for. And 17 seconds later, the fight is over. I believe I saw a punch, an elbow, and then Ronda just started, grab the other woman's arm, lean back, bending it backwards, quick tap on the arm. This fight was over. And I've been burned before, and this is where I have to take some of the blame. It's not strictly on our novelty sports entertainment. I got burned by Mike Tyson, Jake Paul. That was
Right.
a laugher of a fight. It didn't feel real. I got burned by Jose Canseco on Rough and Rowdy.
Yep.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Where he got hit once and immediately just crumbled onto the ground. But I keep falling for this trap when these are novelty fights that are basically done for publicity purposes, not for athleticism. And last night was another example of it. Jake Paul, it's just you snagged me again, and I realized all I did in effect was I gave Netflix another viewer. So now they believe there's more people that are going to do it. They're going to do this all over again. There's going to be another novelty fight. I'm going to watch it because I'll forget how bad this one was, and the cycle continues. So that's my beef of the week.
Turtle from Entourage lasted a minute with Ronda Rousey. So, I mean, why couldn't a professional MMA fighter like Gina Carano last longer than 17 seconds?
Because she actually didn't want to get hurt and just wanted the paycheck. I wouldn't be surprised if they knew it. I did have a $25 bet on Ronda Rousey, but that's neither here nor there. Didn't even make up for the rest of my losses.
There you go. Good point. Those fights were included with an Netflix plan. We all paid extra for those Rough and Rowdy fights.
And that was
back during the pandemic.
Pandemic Rough and Rowdy was different. There was very little entertainment going on, and Dave Portnoy brought Barstool Sports down to West Virginia for 20 fights that took place in 2 hours. So you knew these things were not lasting long. We did have some fun nights during the pandemic, drinking beers at home, and all being on Zoom calls while watching that. Those were fun.
I mean, and I would say 90% of the people in those fights probably should not have been medically cleared to have any sort of physical exertion, much less taking punches from somebody.
And I imagine most of them are either in jail, prison, or dead.
That would be, I'd love a follow-up documentary for Rough and Rowdy.
What's stopping you from making it, my friend?
Lack of talent.
Not happening. Ron, speaking of lack of talent, what's bothering you this week?
So this week, Brian, my beef is with Land's End. Yes, the clothing company Land's End, Brian. We've got our annual summit coming up next month. So what better to reward people for their hard work than yet another logoed quarter zip to give them. So found a nice quarter zip on Land's End in their business outfits section. Purchased one because I wanted to see how the logos look, how the placement would look. And so based off of what I got, I knew I needed to reduce the size of the logos, make some updates, called back, placed my order a couple weeks back and said, listen, these need to be in Virginia for our meeting on June 8th. I'm like, can you get them there? They're like, if we start this process this week, yes, we can get them to you. So place the order. Next day, I get the two proofs updated with the logos, with the changes they made to them. So I'm thinking all well and good. They said, all right, you're approved the two logos. They're like, all right, your order's moving forward in production. Fantastic. So earlier this week, I'm like, I really feel like I should have gotten an update about this. So I emailed them and I'm like, hey, just checking in on this order because I went to pull up the order on their website. Nothing came up. So I'm like, maybe that's because it's in pre-production. We'll see. 2 days go by, don't hear anything from them. Hop on, get on their live chat, and they're like, yeah, there was a problem with your order. I'm like, were you not going to let me know about it? No, we reached out to you about it twice. Every other email I've gotten from them, they're like, well, your logo on the sleeve is too big for the women's size. And I'm like, the logo, I already had you reduced by 50%. And they're like, what? They're like, well, you're not going to get them in time anyway. So I'm like, all right, close the live chat, get on the phone.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I got to speak to a live person. So actually found someone very helpful, but I'm not going to know until Tuesday if we're actually going to get the order in time.
Question: how many? What is the total count you've ordered?
It's it's not a huge order. It's like probably 35 of them.
You would think that they'd be able to knock out 35 between now and June 3rd. That's what is that? Next week? A week from 2 weeks?
2.5 weeks. Something
okay.
like that.
That absolutely is something that should be done. Now, question: did you go back and look in your spam filters to see if they had actually emailed you?
I did. I did not find anything. And I think what she's referring to is the 2 emails I got to approve the new logos.
Oh.
Because when I got on the phone with the other person, she's like, yeah, I don't know why we would have held this order up. You already had the logo shrunk. Yes,
question.
I'm aware of that.
One.
Yes.
First question is, don't you have somebody else that should be doing this? Like, I feel like as a vice president of a national hotel management chain,
I wish someone
really
somehow, for whatever reason, you know what happened, Brian? Many years ago, I did this and it turned out well.
Right.
And that is the kiss of death. Never do anything well in your corporate life, or you will be relegated to doing it moving forward.
Yes, this is true.
I mean, to be fair,
true.
We all chip in to help out with the planning of the annual summit, booking the hotel, arranging the events, everything else. So in the grand scheme of things, my quarter zip project, very small versus some of the other work that needs to be done.
Second question is, hold on. The second question I have is now, how much were, based on a 35 count order, how much was each quarter zip? Because I'm trying to get an understanding of how much you will spend for yourself and the other executive office staff while you punish your actual hotel employees by paying them minimum wage to clean the hotel room. So I'm trying to understand, like, how much is a quarter zip? How much do you value that compared to the crushing illegal wages that you pay your staff?
I mean, from someone who wears a puffed up vest with his company logo on it each and every day while hiring people under the table to do construction work, I find that to be somewhat ironic.
Fortunately, and I'm going to say this to you, this company that I'm working for now, we do not self-perform the actual work. We hire all subcontractors to do the actual construction work. Therefore, our hiring practices...
You're not doing the work.
The work we do is not the physical construction. We manage. So we are in more of an advisory capacity, a consulting.
Your name on these big projects and hire
subcontractors. Yes,
which you pay below union wages. I've heard you are very difficult in paying contractors. I've heard President Trump pays his contractors quicker than you do. But that's
these are all lies. How do I get this has got to stop because this is not good.
That's Brian tries to figure out StreamYard. So we're going to move on. So Brian is hyperventilating. Let's move on to our...
What am I hitting on?
As Brian changes all the backgrounds. All right, well, let's move on, Brian, to stories of the week.
All right, Rod. Sorry. You deserve better than that. That was chump work.
Anyway, Brian, we got our stories of the week. The stories that, as we have always said, we want to make sure we get to. We don't let them slip through the cracks. Brian, what is your story of the week this week?
My story of the week takes us to all the way out into Hackensack, New Jersey, a town not far from where I currently am. Do you have a photo, Ron, of Dr. Michael Cahaley?
I believe
Michael
so.
Cahaley. Do you have a photo? Okay, here
there we
is
are.
Michael Cahaley. Obviously, this photo is from the Robert Wood Johnson University Hospital, but he has also worked in other hospitals, namely Hackensack Meridian Health, where he is a prominent gastroenterologist. Now, Dr. Cahaley has a story that should warn all adults and teenagers out there. I really don't want to think children. And the danger here is taking photos of your genitalia and sending them to people that you don't truly know. You may think that a picture of your penis or vagina or breasts are going to really entice this person to want to take you into a bedroom and to bump uglies, as we used to say back in the 80s. But sometimes there is a price to pay. This week, as I said, Dr. Michael Cahaley, who is 57, he filed a lawsuit in Manhattan Supreme Court alleging that he's been the target of a relentless harassment campaign since ending an affair with a 29-year-old software consultant, Elaine Ma, in 2025. Ma, not his actual mother, obviously, allegedly threatened to send naked recordings of him to his family and hand out flyers to everyone he knows. She followed through on one threat, sending an explicit photo of his photo to his wife, and warned that she'd send more images to his college-age sons. Ma was arrested in April of 2026 on stalking and harassment charges. But here's the thing. Ma told the press that her relationship collapsed after she discovered Cahaley was still intimate with his wife, alleging that she told him, "You first cheated on your wife with me, and now you cheated on me with your wife." She claims his wife even messaged her while she was in China to warn her she was being played. Cahaley filed for divorce that month, but court records show the proceedings were discontinued just 4 days after he reported the photo leak to police. So this is the story. First off, don't cheat on your wife. But if you're going to cheat on your wife, don't send naked photos to other people because it's going to be used against you. And also, I'm not sure if what's the dark line in that X-ray right behind his shoulder? Because it looks,
it's disconcerting.
We've been doing this show for too many years to know it's one of our annual stories that we do of just what things people have inserted in their body that ER staff are reporting having taken out. That looks like a metal straw.
Listen, he's a gastroenterologist. Maybe someone accidentally swallowed a metal straw.
Ooh, I saw that in a movie once. Ron, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
What's your story of the week?
Oh, Brian, we're going back a ways, and I'm not sure everybody's going to remember this. Toronto's most legendary gross criminal, a man who achieved international internet infamy in 2019 by dumping buckets of liquefied feces on university students while dressed as a construction worker. He has been arrested again, this time for 2 sexual assaults in 24 hours. This is a mugshot of Samuel Opoku, age 30. He was arrested by Toronto police on Tuesday and charged with 2 counts of sexual assault and indecent exposure. He was confirmed by court records to be the same man who became known as Poo Poo Man back in 2019. The 2 alleged assaults took place on May 9th. A group of women were walking along Dundas Street East, approached by Opoku, who grabbed a victim's forearm, made sexual advances, and allegedly sexually assaulted her before fleeing. The following day, on Dundas Street West, a woman was followed by a man into an office space, into a commercial building, where he allegedly approached her from behind and sexually assaulted her before fleeing again. In both cases, the victims were strangers to the suspect. Now, what's interesting is he became known as the Poo Poo Man because of the indie film that filmmakers did back in 2024, which premiered at the TIFF Lightbox in Toronto. What's interesting, these 2019 charges of pouring that liquefied feces on people have not been tested in court. Repeatedly delayed, first by the pandemic and then by other continuances.
I thought you meant that the liquid he threw has not been tested yet to see how much of it was pee-pee and how much of it was poo-poo. Like, what was should he be the poo-poo pee-pee man?
I feel like I haven't made a lot of right decisions at time in my life.
Sure.
But just the fact that I am not known as the pee-pee poo-poo man makes me realize that I'm not all bad.
No, you're not all bad. You're mostly bad, Ron, but not all bad.
Not pee-pee poo-poo man bad.
No. It takes a lot to be pee-pee poo-poo bad.
I just, the fact that there's a movie out there that we did not watch called Pee-pee Poo-Poo Man. You do love a good documentary, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, here we go. The Pee-pee Poo-Poo Man movie. 2024 official trailer. How have we not seen this movie? Is it streaming anywhere? We'll have
to see. Maybe it's on Tubi or Howdy, one of those things out there. Next up, Brian. Earlier today, a series of at least 10 apparently random shootings hit Austin, Texas. Actually, it was last night through today, triggering a shelter-in-place order, a massive law enforcement response, and a manhunt that is still partially ongoing. 2 suspects are in custody. Here is a screenshot of one of the suspects, and a third remains at large following those shootings concentrating around South Austin. The first shooting occurred at 9 o'clock Saturday night at Fire Station 26 on Wentworth Drive in East Austin, where a suspect fired towards the station. The second happened around 8 a.m. Sunday, where a male victim was shot once and transported to the hospital, where he remains in serious but stable condition. A third shooting targeted Fire Station 32 in Southwest Austin around 10:50 a.m. on Sunday. Austin Police Chief Lisa Davis said police are investigating these shootings, and I'm just seeing if there's anything interesting here. No, not really. Do not leave your cars unlocked, though, the police chief is saying. We are seeing cars being stolen and driven to these shootings.
Really? I mean, you keep reading how Austin has got a very bad crime problem. That, people during the pandemic fled down there for the freedoms of Texas. Not where you want to be anymore.
I mean, I thought Austin was more the kind of the artsy, relaxed part of Texas, but apparently you can get shot up there as well.
Yeah, it's got a very large homeless population, from what I've heard.
Next up, Brian,
you've been to Texas lately, haven't you, Ron?
I was in Dallas this past week.
I'm not saying you took a little detour down to Austin and shot up a fire station, did you?
I did not at all.
We needed to go on record because people are going to ask the question, connect the dots. I don't want you getting dragged down for that.
Listen, I was hanging out with the good people at Johnny's Chicken and Waffles there in Dallas and had just a delicious plate of chicken tenders and waffles. Highly recommend if you're in the Dallas area.
Like some chicken tenders, Ron. You and every 6-year-old I've ever met.
I am a slut for chicken tenders. I can't lie. I got a bag of those frozen uncooked chicken tenders from Walmart in my freezer. I can have them any night of the week. That's my right as a grown-up, Brian.
Ron, stop giving Walmart your business. It pains me. It pains me that you eat at Michelin star restaurants. You have the ability to cook, on your Blackstone grill. You have an oven with a tabletop oven with a camera on the inside, and yet you still go to Walmart to buy food. It just breaks my heart.
So I guess you won't be eating my food when you come visit next?
I will only eat the food that you have purchased not from Walmart.
All right. Fair. I'll keep that in mind. Brian, this past week on Tuesday, the Bahamas held a national election, which meant that alcohol sales were banned for 10 hours, and thousands of cruise passengers found out and determined that democracy is deeply inconvenient. The general election, again, was on May 12th, and under Bahamian law, all alcohol sales are banned from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. on polling day across every establishment on Bahamian soil, including private cruise islands. Royal Caribbean confirmed that its private island, Perfect Day at Coco Key, would be subject to the ban. Two of its ships, however, Oasis of the Sea and Wonders of the Sea, were scheduled to call there that day, along with Utopia of the Seas at Royal Beach Club Paradise Island in Nassau. Now, the thing to keep in mind, Brian, you could still get alcohol on the ships. You just couldn't get it in the Bahamas just between those hours. And so this apparently rubbed a lot of passengers the wrong way, with one passenger venting on social media that she, quote, would have picked a different itinerary to celebrate with our friends had she known about the ban.
Listen, I know you say passengers, but let's be brutally honest. You want to say Americans. This is just another example. And this is just, it's Americans traveling thinking that what is their norm should be true everywhere they go. Right. And not respecting local customs. Like they feel that the American privilege or American rights and whatnot transfer when they travel outside the country. And if it's a Tuesday and they're in the Bahamas, well, they should be able to buy alcohol. Damn it,
that's right.
That's our God-given right by God and the Constitution. And if you say to them,
I need to follow the laws of another country when I'm an American?
I'm an American. Yeah, it's nonsense. It's such nonsense. But how would you handle it if you had shown up to the Bahamas and they said, oh yeah, by the way, you can't buy alcohol today?
Well, I think, two things. Number one, not a huge deal because I could have still drank on my ship. And number two, it was only until 6 p.m. Like it's 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. I mean, yeah, on a good vacation day, am I drinking by 10 or 11 a.m. most of the time?
Sure.
Goddamn right I am. But I think, in this instance, I'll have a few pops on the ship, go down, enjoy Nassau, and then, wait till the bars open back up.
I still remember
that big a deal.
I still remember when I went to the Bahamas with my lady a couple of years ago. We got to the hotel early in the morning, got into our room, put on some bathing suits, went down to the pool, and as because it was a all inclusive. My first thing was like, let's go get a drink.
Sure.
Well, I walk over to the bar and ask for a beer, and the guy hands me maybe a 12-ounce plastic cup full of beer, and I'm like, okay, thank you very much. The guy behind me is holding one of those 32-ounce, maybe
Stanley coolers.
It would never dawn upon me to bring your own gigantic cup so that you can have a massive amount of alcohol. And people were drinking like daiquiris out of it, margaritas out of it. Just like 32 ounces of that shit, and just sitting there by the pool, it was disgusting. And I just was like, you know what? Fuck Americans. I mean, we're just so gross.
So the first time we went to an all-inclusive, we drank from the glassware at the hotel, but we noticed what you noticed, all these people with this big Stanley cups. And so
BYO,
we bought a couple and brought them down the next time. And for me, it was fine because I'm only drinking beer. So it's,
sure.
It's I'm going to have a couple beers anyway. My lady decided to hit the mojitos.
Right.
Which is why she ended up having to be loaded into a golf cart and driven back up to the hotel from poolside.
I remember the story. I remember this. Oh, I remember the story. Yes, she was throwing up all over the place. You were trying to get her out of like a bush, if I remember correctly, because she had fallen in. And the guy was like, "Hey," some guy was driving by and it was like, "Hey, do you want me to give her a ride back to the hotel?" And you were like, "Yeah, please."
Yeah, I could use a hand here, sir.
Oh God, I remember that now. Your lady has provided us with so many good quality stories, and you want to know something? She's come out the other side a better person.
That's right. Yeah, she's learned, she's grown. So what can you say? Next up, Brian, we've got another Trump, I guess, I don't know if this is necessarily a cabinet member, but another Trump administration member that has left their position. The head of the U.S. Border Patrol, the man overseeing the most aggressive immigration crackdown in modern American history, abruptly resigned after reports surfaced that he regularly traveled to Colombia and Thailand to solicit sex workers and bragged about it to coworkers. This is U.S. Border Patrol Chief Mike Banks resigned effective immediately, telling Fox News, quote, "It's just time." Banks oversaw Trump's second-term immigration crackdown, which his bosses called a transformation, quote, "from chaos to the most secure border ever recorded." His departure came amid a Washington Examiner report citing 6 current and former Border Patrol employees who said Banks traveled to Colombia and Thailand to solicit sex workers. One agent said, quote, "I don't know how he became chief of the Border Patrol with his character. He's going to third world countries to take advantage of poor fucking women, which disgusts the hell out of me." CBP's response was a clinic in bureaucratic non-denial denial. Quote, "These allegations date back more than a decade and were reviewed years ago." Reviewed, not disputed, but they say the matter was closed. The second investigation, opened in June 2025, was shut down during Kristi Noem's tenure at DHS without publicly releasing its finding. Banks marks at least the 5th Homeland Security official to depart the agency in recent weeks.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Jesus. And you know what? Once again, in the current state of the government that we have, there will be absolutely no repercussions from this.
Oh, no. No, none whatsoever.
Just fucking terrible.
Unbelievable. I mean, should we be shocked at this point?
How can you? There's nothing shocking. There's nothing shocking about this group anymore. It's just it is the unqualified nature of the people in this administration whose only qualification is their loyalty to Donald Trump. That's it.
Speaking of Donald Trump, nearly 600,000 MAGA supporters paid $100 deposits for a gold Trump smartphone promised to be made in the USA. Over a year later, no phones, no refunds in sight, and fine print that says the deposit, quote, "doesn't constitute a completed purchase." If you remember, Brian, Trump Mobile launched in June 2025 at Trump Tower, headlined by Donald Trump Jr., pitching a gold-covered Android handset.
Sure.
Bundled with a monthly service plan and promise for delivery in late summer of 2025. Delivery was pushed to November, then December, then Q1 of this year. A March 2026 T-Mobile carrier certification deadline also passed with no news. By April, Trump Mobile quietly redesigned its website and removed any reference to a release date entirely. An April 2026 update to the terms of service states that the deposit, quote, "does not constitute a completed purchase and does not create a binding legal contract." Because, of course, just throwing stuff up on a website makes it legal.
Yeah, of course. What a joke. What an utter joke.
Now, on May 13th, Trump Mobile claimed it would start shipping phones that week. No verified deliveries have been confirmed. I also saw that people are seeing some of the phones that are going to be shipped, and it's like an old model that they're just basically slapping the Trump name on just to try and get something out there.
Sure, I believe that.
So let's think about this, Brian. We've had the crypto, we've had the NFTs, we've had the sneakers, the Trump Bible, the watches, the gold cards, and now the phone. It's the same playbook, the same marks, and the same result. As one observer noted, a significant portion of buyers won't even request refunds because admitting they got scammed again isn't an option.
Correct. They will. It's utterly wild. And we've got another 2 years of this shit.
But what is amazing to me is, I mean, that's literally what, $59 million.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it feels like it should be illegal. Feels like someone should be prosecuted for that.
Listen, this man's about to bully the Department of Justice into creating a $1 billion fund that he will then force the DOJ to give out to his supporters who were wrongfully arrested, charged, and imprisoned for their actions on January 6th. He's suing the government for $10 billion. He is going to force a settlement and then take taxpayer money to somehow. I'm sure he's going to try and take a cut of it. You just know.
Oh yeah, I mean, he always figures out a way to be involved in the grift. Make money off of it.
Unbelievably disgusting.
Brian, we talked a little bit last week about the Hantavirus cruise ship, which, I understand they're testing people. More people are testing positive, even though it's not, catching, it's not going to be an issue. But they were able to track down patient zero, who was a 70-year-old Dutch bird watcher who visited a landfill looking for a rare bird. This is Leo Schilperood, age 70, a Dutch ornithologist. He and his wife Mirjam, age 69, are now identified as the first known cases in the hantavirus outbreak above the MV Hondius. The couple had spent 5 months traveling South America before boarding the ship April 1st in Argentina. Just days before boarding, they visited a landfill 4 miles outside Ushuaia to spot the rare white-throated caracara, nicknamed Darwin's caracara. Kind of ironic right there.
I hear that.
Argentinian authorities suspect the couple inhaled particles from the feces of a long-tailed pygmy rat, rice rats at the site, which carry the Andes strains of hantavirus. Leo developed symptoms on April 6th and died aboard the ship on April 11th. Mirjam disembarked at St. Helena on April 24th with her husband's body and gastrointestinal symptoms. She collapsed on a flight to Johannesburg and died in a South African clinic the following day. A third patient, a German national, also died. The Andes strain is uniquely dangerous. It is the only form of hantavirus known to transmit between humans. Roughly 29 to 40 passengers disembarked at St. Helena without contact tracing before the hantavirus link was even established, scattering across multiple countries.
Jesus. Yeah,
now,
you gotta be careful with this shit.
What is interesting, Brian, is that, as this has hit the news and Americans have been airlifted to a Nebraska biocontainment facility, it has come out that the Trump administration specifically canceled funding for the research center that was studying this exact strain of hantavirus 11 months ago. So if we go back to June of last year, the Trump administration eliminated funding for all 10 centers comprising the Centers for Research in Emerging Infectious Diseases Network, a program established after COVID to study pathogens that jump from animals to humans. The NIH cut the funding, says the research, quote, has been deemed unsafe for Americans and not a good use of taxpayer funding. One of those centers have been running a pilot project specifically studying the Andes strain of hantavirus. The research would have studied how the virus actually spreads from person to person, something scientists still don't fully understand. We know that it's capable of human-to-human transmission, but we don't know whether it spreads through direct contact, saliva, aerosol droplets, or contaminated surfaces. It also affects how doctors treat patients and how health officials contain outbreaks right now. The CDC has been without a permanent director for 15 of the last 17 months. Its acting director, Jay Bhattacharya, is simultaneously running the NIH. Up to a quarter of CDC staff has gone. The Epidemic Intelligence Service, who is normally dispatched to exactly this kind of outbreak, spent the past year unsure of whether they were being fired or rehired. It's kind of a mess right now, Brian, and we're not exactly sure what's going to happen. Donald Trump's response as to whether Americans should be worried was literally, quote, I hope not.
That's it?
That's it. Yeah.
I hope not.
I hope not.
Okay.
I hope not.
I hope not. Okay. Listen, we are we knew exactly what we elected. This is
Yep.
the government. This is exactly what we elected. And not all of us, not every American voted for this,
But enough.
this is, but enough, but more Americans voted for this than voted for the other candidate. And this is the America that we are going to deal with.
Well, Brian,
Shameful.
quick question for
Just
you
fucking
before we
shameful.
move on to some of our other stories.
Ask away, my friend.
What are you watching?
Oh, listen, I have not watched a lot of TV this past week. I mean, when I say different stuff, I mean, right off the bat, I will just say I am up to season 3 of Better Call Saul, rewatching that series. I will say this, just to give you an idea of how good that show is. My lovely partner here showed zero interest when I first started watching. It was just like, what are you watching? Ugh. Now I catch her when there's like a scene going on and she gets up to walk out of the room. She'll linger in the kitchen for like a little long, just to like watch. And then we'll sit down and just, give up and sit down. So she's into it also. But I did watch something this weekend that was really interesting. Not necessarily something you would think I would watch. I watched something called The Bus. An hour-long documentary on Netflix just came out. It is the story of I believe it is the 2010 French national soccer team. It might be the 2014 team now that I think about it. At the World Cup, where they're basically the French team was going in. It was the 2010 team, so they were defending champions going into the World Cup, and everybody was expecting them to go deep into the tournament. In the opening group stage, where they play a round robin of 3 teams, they tie the first game, they tie the second game, and then literally the team implodes. Reports come out of the locker room, which is supposedly a very controlled environment, of a player cursing out the coach. Everybody denies it. The player gets ejected off the team, sent back to France before the third game. Players refuse to practice. Just a stunning embarrassment on the global scale. But it also shows you just how, things go off the rails, especially in the modern age, when you are not controlling the message. When you've got lots of voices out there, lots of people talking, and there is absolutely so many different messages. Everybody's putting their words and their things out. Just absolutely wild. And that's pretty much all I've watched, I have to admit. What are you watching?
Really didn't watch too much this week, but I did catch the new documentary on Netflix, The Crash. Single episode.
Oh, how was that?
It was good. It's 1.5 hours, so it talks about an accident that occurred back in 2022, I think it was.
Yeah, I think so.
This woman, Mackenzie Sharilla, was driving. She was 17 at the time, drove the car into an office building, killing her boyfriend, Dominic Russo, and her friend, Davion Flanagan, who was sitting in the back seat. She survived the crash, and she, as the story plays out, and this played out in the courts a couple of years ago, so it's not unknown news, but she was driving at a high rate of speed. She at one point had they took the black box out of the car. It showed that she had the accelerator fully down to the floor, 100%, and never hit the brake, and ran straight through a stop sign into this building, killing these 2 men. And so she was convicted of 2 counts of murder, and is now serving 15 years to life.
So is this like a suicide attempt? Like, was she trying to kill herself and take these 2 guys out at the same time?
They don't think she was trying to kill herself because of the way that she angled the car into the building and hit the passenger side. Now, again, she suffered major injuries.
Yeah.
Survived, but the argument that the prosecutor made was that she was not. I mean, if she had died, it wasn't intentional. They argued that her intention was to kill her boyfriend, because they had this very long going toxic relationship, and the
Sure.
friend just happened to have gotten a ride home with them that night.
Ooh, that's terrible. Now, I have a question. Is that why you don't let your wife drive the car?
I can't comment on that, but I do know the answer.
Okay.
Okay. Next up, Brian, we haven't had a good ivermectin story in quite a while now.
But
Well,
we know that
apparently-
ivermectin cures everything.
It does apparently cure everything. And apparently, one Mel Gibson appearance on Joe Rogan's podcast caused ivermectin prescriptions to surge nearly 100% across the U.S. And in the South, they tripled specifically for cancer patients. So this is going back to January of last year. Gibson appeared on the Joe Rogan Experience and described 3 friends with stage 4 cancer who he said recovered after taking ivermectin and fenbendazole, an anti-parasitic dewormer approved only for veterinary use. Researchers from Virginia Tech, UCLA, and the University of Michigan then analyzed health records from more than 68 million patients. Their findings, published last week, said that prescriptions for ivermectin leapt by 97% in the 6 months following Gibson's appearance compared to the year before. Among cancer patients specifically, prescribing rates were more than 2.5 times higher. In the South, prescriptions rates, as we said, more than tripled. And experts warn that doses of ivermectin required to show even a modest anti-cancer effect in lab studies would typically be considered toxic in humans. And there is concern the drug could interfere with how the body processes actual cancer treatments.
Sure. What is the anti-medical establishment's obsession with ivermectin?
I don't know.
Because not only did it save COVID, but now it's going to save you from cancer.
Right. And the thing that they're also not sure of is how many patients went off of chemotherapy to try this. I mean, I don't want to say it's not a cure, but it certainly doesn't seem to be a cure.
Question, in all honesty, if there's a person out there with some type of debilitating disease and they decide they're going to start taking ivermectin and cancel whatever type of medical treatment they're getting, is it really that much of a loss?
It's survival of the fittest, Darwinism, if you will.
Okay, if you say so.
Brian, we didn't get to cover this story a couple weeks back, but I believe you remember the story in a Tennessee school board hearing where a school board member hugged a female high school student and said, quote, "God, you're hot."
Yes, I do remember that. You did that to me last time I was at your house.
So this is back on April 2nd during a Washington County, Tennessee school board meeting. Board member Keith Irvin, a member since 2006, hugged high schooler Hannah Campbell from the side and told her, quote, "God, you're hot. Do you know that? Damn, where do you go to school at?" Other board members laughed it off and the meeting continued. Luckily, Hannah did not let it go. At a subsequent meeting, she took the podium and delivered a scorching public rebuke, calling the board members cowards for failing to hold Irvin accountable. Her speech
Good for
went
her.
viral
Good for her.
immediately, with widespread praise from across the political spectrum. This, by the way, is a photo of Keith Irvin looking exactly how you would
What you would expect. Yeah. Just out of curiosity, no photo of the student?
I didn't find a good one of her.
Oh, are you trying to say that she's not good looking? Ron, all women are beautiful. I don't appreciate you judging women based on their appearances. That's not appropriate.
I more meant as you can see, this photo isn't even really in focus. I mean, it's Tennessee. What kind of technology?
Correct. I mean, they're probably still dealing with AOL dial-up.
And let's see, we could probably sneak another story or two in here.
Sure,
so I
we
know
got time.
We've been following this story all week of the tourist who threw a rock at an endangered monk seal in Hawaii. Let's pull up his mugshot. This is Igor Litvinchuk.
Sure.
Age 38 of Covington, Washington. So back on May 5th, where the hell? I thought I shared his picture. Hold on.
You had his photo. I mean, I know we talked about it last week.
There we go. So on May 5th, Igor was filmed tracking Lonnie, a 20-year-old Hawaiian monk seal, along the shoreline before picking up a large rock and hurling it at her head. The rock, thankfully, narrowly missed. Witnesses confronted him, and he said, quote, "I don't care. Find me. I'm rich."
Right.
A local then apparently settled the matter more directly, beating him up on the beach, a video that was deliciously and widely circulated. 9 days later, NOAA special agents arrested Litvinchuk near Seattle. He now faces federal charges of harassing and attempting to harass an endangered protected animal.
Good.
Hawaiian monk seals are critically endangered. Only 1,600 remain in the wild. If convicted, he faces up to 1 year in prison per charge, up to $50,000 in fine under the Endangered Species Act, and up to $20,000 under the Marine Mammal Protection Act. His defense now, Brian, is that he threw the rock at the seal to protect turtles that were swimming near the seal, and that he didn't even know Hawaii had seals. So the man who said, "I'm rich, sue me," is to witnesses is now apparently devastated. He is due in Honolulu federal court on May 27th, where a judge will get to hear the turtle protection defense in person.
Oh, I hope they give this guy jail time. Just a terrible piece of garbage.
I mean, it's just people are. I keep saying this each and every week. People just really suck, Brian.
Yeah, because you know if it was because of the turtles, he would have been like, "Oh, hey, whoa, he was going after the turtles."
Yeah.
He would have been like, "Fuck off, I'm rich."
Listen, I get it. Like a nice turtle soup, chef's kiss, but leave the seals alone. Wait,
Ron, all turtles are good. Even Janelle right there says they're all good.
There
How
we
dare
go.
you?
All right, Brian, we haven't hit but the drag queens are the problem in a while. We did have a story that fell into this category. So hopefully we'll see that this is a drag queen since they're the ones who catch all the flack about this. And no, this is a first grade teacher, Brian. This is Mackenzie Knott, age 25, first grade teacher at St. John Elementary School in Whitman County, Washington. She was arrested last week and charged with first-degree sexual misconduct with a minor. According to court documents, Knott, who was friends with the boy's family, began sending flirty Snapchat messages to the 16-year-old on May 3rd while her husband was asleep. The teen was initially hesitant, but eventually agreed to meet her. The two then had sex in his truck in the middle of the night. Knott's husband reported his wife to authorities after she confessed to him. He told investigators he had screenshots from her phone and admissions from the teen himself confirming the sexual encounter. Another friend also told investigators Knott had separately admitted to having sex with the student. When police arrested her Sunday morning, just hours after her husband's report, she initially denied having sex with the boy, despite having already told her husband the night before. She was placed on leave by the school district just 8 months into her teaching job. The area apparently having quite a stretch of problems, Brian. The spokesman review noted that a 29-year-old Sprague High School teacher, Madeline Gregory, was also arrested in March for a sexual relationship with a 16-year-old student, and a 33-year-old Spokane special education teacher, Mihaela Benavides, was arrested in March for allegedly raping and molesting a 10-year-old student over months in at least one of the school's classrooms. She will go to trial in July.
I think we can safely say that it's not the drag queens who are the problem, but just female teachers. They do not. Women are going into this line of work to have sex with students, and there's too many examples of this.
I I don't
understand
get
where these women were when we were students.
I don't understand what appears to be an epidemic of female teachers having sex with their underage students.
Yeah, I just don't get it. I just absolutely do not get it. But I mean, Jesus Christ, it's got to stop. The shit's not. This is rape. People are forgetting about it.
Next up, Brian, a 32-year-old Democratic congressional candidate in Detroit is running one of the most chaotic social media campaigns in recent American political history, and somehow she's still running. Shelby Campbell, age 32, is running in the Democratic primary for Michigan's 13th congressional district, a Detroit area seat currently held by incumbent Representative Shiri Sanandar. And with the August 4th primary fast approaching, Campbell describes herself on her campaign page as a bartender, server, certified nursing assistant, third-generation auto worker, first-generation college graduate, and single mom. She has also been to jail, a fact that she voluntarily discloses on her campaign website, along with 4 mugshots.
Jesus.
She also has a social media highlight reel, which includes a twerking video from her living room. Here's some photos of it right there that went viral and was widely mocked. A video mocking the death of Charlie Kirk, in which she looked into the camera and said, "Hey, MAGA, how bad does it hurt that Jimmy Kimmel is back, but you can't get our person back?" And quote, "Hi, Michiganders, specifically Detroiters, do you guys care that Charlie Kirk passed away?" Before flipping off the camera. There was a since-deleted video disparaging U.S. troops, and as a response to critics piling on, a video in which she looked into the camera and declared, quote, "I am a cunt." Great.
I'm not sure. I don't think she's worthy of public office.
But, Brian, she did graduate from Wayne State University with a degree in political science.
Yeah, I don't.
Who else did I know that graduated with a degree in political science?
Minor, American history major. Actually, to be brutally honest, I didn't even have poli-sci. Or was I a double minor?
You had to major at some point.
I know. I was an American history major the whole time. Come on.
All right.
And why did I know you were talking about me? Jesus. Talk about being
She
defensive.
also has completed half of her legal education at the University of Detroit Mercer School of Law. Her campaign slogan is "Soup for Change," and she sells merch, including a 13th District Special sticker pack.
All right.
You got to respect the merch game.
Oh, you got it. Absolutely. Absolutely. You got to respect the merch game.
Oh, yeah. It's a nice little trucker hat you have there, Brian. Also, make sure you respect the podcast by going and becoming a Patreon member. If you go to cultofronandbrian.com, click in the upper right-hand corner, you can join and become a subscriber. If you subscribe at the $10 level or higher, you get to join us for After Dark, which will be taking place in about 26 minutes.
Yep.
It's the saucy, sexy stuff that we don't get to cover in the free podcast. It's stuff that has to remain behind the paywall.
Join it, folks. It's this is your opportunity to help the show, help contribute the show. Ron and I, every week, 1 hour, we sit here, we talk, we do, we give. This is your opportunity to give back. As little as $5 a month gets you the aluminum level membership. $10 a month gets you silver. You get the live link to watch After Dark. Let's be honest, that's where we get a little bit more personal. We talk about things that are not quite family friendly, a little spicy, a little salsa picante. But more importantly, the monies that you give us go back into the show. So we're not doing this to sock money away for our retirement. That's what our Amazon stock is for. The monies that we are collecting from the Patreon goes in to give you a better show. You see this background right above my head? You know how much that costs? It costs 3 Bitcoin. But you know what? We invested that
Worth
money.
it.
So this
Totally
look at
worth
it. It's
it.
beautiful. It's utterly beautiful. You guys don't even want to know how expensive the outro was.
Speaking of which, can I tell you a secret that moderator Marty let me in on the other night, which almost made her my beef of the week? Is she typically is listening to just the audio of the podcast. She doesn't always watch the video.
Missing
So
out. She's missing out.
I was like, "Have you seen the intro and outro video?" She's like, "I have not." So I played her the intro video. She's like, "Yeah, that goes with the song." And then I played her the outro video, and she's like, "What is this?" And I'm like, "We play this at the end of the podcast." She's like, "Oh, once you guys start talking about Patreon, I just click on to another podcast." Right? Do you have the same rage welling up inside you right now that I did in hearing that information?
I'm not sure she is qualified to be our moderator of the next debate. We're going to have to put some serious thought in it. If she's not willing to put the hour and 7 minutes into the show, if she's tapping out at an hour and 5, this is unacceptable.
Right. I know, and I fought with whether to share this with you or not, because I know that kind of stuff hurts you, Brian. I know
it does. Honestly, it hurts me that people only listen to the audio of this show. That they're missing out so much on the video. They don't see the photos they're putting up. They don't see the number of times that you give me the finger. She's not doing the work.
She's not doing the work. And the work is so important.
Absolutely, people. Don't forget that.
All right, Brian, we're going to wrap things up here.
Wrap it up.
Anything else before we go get ready for After Dark?
Love you, buddy. Thanks for spending the past hour with me.
Thank you. For everybody else other than Marty, enjoy this outro.
Takes rising, orders given. Once you're in, you're never leaving.